Hello again. This is another G1 Dinobot review. This one is Sludge, and he's modelled on, I suppose the old names would have been like Diplodocus. I'm not sure what the modern versions, they've changed the names on some of the dinosaurs these days. But as you can see, he's got quite a lot of chrome on his upper body there, and his tail all chromed. Gold picked out on the top there and silver on the back, and a little bit of gold for where his mouth is, and his mouth does open and close. His head just has a little tiny bit of movement so he can nod. Not a great deal of movement in dinosaur mode. As you can see, his front legs, they're actually folded underneath, so you can't move them a great deal because that part is his forearm when he's a transformer, like when he's the robot mode, and it restricts the movement of it in dinosaur mode. The back legs do move around, as does the foot, so you can position that slightly, but not really a great deal of movement in his dinosaur mode. I'll just point out again, standard G1 box for these figures, and his instruction manual. He came with quite a large blaster and his obligatory red sword. All of the swords on the Dinobots, they're all different, so they're all particular to which figure you're looking at. And again, a handheld rocket launcher and 3 missiles for it. I won't bother launching them, I'm sure you're well aware of what they're like when they fire. Okay, I shall transform him. He is one of the more complicated out of the Dinobots to actually transform. I think the best way to do it is start with his back end. Now, before you start disassembling his actual tail to make his legs, you've actually got to fold in the back legs. So you swivel his foot up to the front, bring the leg back and push it in, so it goes in quite neatly, snugly into the body. And again the same thing, bring it up, swing the foot in. It clicks, although not actually clicking, it does actually have positions where it actually stays, and then it just pushes in. And it does stay in firmly, it's not shaking out. The next stage to do on him is to split his tail, and they fold round to the sides, again tucking neatly against where you've just tucked the back legs in. And then you have to separate along this chromed line, pull it up and back. It is a tight fit, you've got to be a bit brave because obviously the plastic's getting on now. Swing that whole section back round. As you can see, it's sort of like becoming his legs, and this is where he's similar to Grimlock in the sense that you split them out, and it's got the same joint where you hinge it up and then turn it down to form his hips, and that in turn separates his legs. Now at this position I can show you a little bit clearly, he actually got some quite good leg articulation for movement. It's just a shame that because he's got such a large base to the foot that you can't really take advantage of that and position him in some more positions, sort of like if he's running or anything like that. Now concentrating on the top half, first things first, you have to flip out the back pieces what are underneath the dinosaur mode. They become his forearms, and you've got to just turn out, these fists are inside, and you just use a bit of friction and get your nail in if you need to. Just turn them out, and then what you need to do is lift them up. Now that's necessary to clear these chrome parts, because once you pull the neck part down and tuck that to the back of the body, which actually I should at this point turn his whole lower half round, because now this is effectively going to be his front, that then tucks to the back, and then you need to get your nail in, split open the chrome part, and that just clears the front legs. And you bring those round and they become like his wing parts, and that's effectively him transformed. You just bring the arms down then, and there you go. As with all of the dinobots, as I've said in my other reviews, they all came with a diaclone compartment which actually hinges up the opposite way from where you actually think, and hinges upwards there, which obviously was, for those that know, a diaclone cockpit for a small robot type figure, a little bit like the Zoid series I suppose, something like that. And again, weapons can fit into his hands. I prefer the main normal blaster rather than the rocket launchers, and putting his sword in. As with all of the swords, it's also worth noting on the box art, I don't know if I can do that without, yeah, didn't lose the instructions. If you look at the box art, where they were doing the pre-production runs, they had chromed all of the swords, and on some of the box arts where they're actually holding the swords, they still did it in the artist drawing of them, though for whatever reason, maybe it was coming off the plastic or something like that, and they didn't bother to do it, or the plastic needed to be softer, which these are a little bit sort of bendy, and it would probably be difficult to chrome that, and if they were too hard then you'd probably get sued for kids sticking them in each other's eyes. But it's worth pointing that out, because if you ever see it and you think, oh, that's not the right weapon for him, it's a knockoff or something like that, it's not. It is genuine that they should be red plastic, and they never came with chromed. If any of the later sort of knockoffs or reissues did, well, that really does just scream the fact that they are a knockoff. And that's him really. That's effectively him transformed. Again, very reasonably cartoon accurate, you know. I know he's a little bit bulky in some positions, like his lower legs, but it is a pretty good representation of the G1 cartoon figure. Quite a few nice sticker details picked out on all of these Dinobots, and of course his Autobot logo on the front there. Little shame they didn't do like a particular, sticking with an Autobot logo somewhere on him, but maybe having a little bit of a separate Dinobot logo, that they had their own little faction, because as in with a lot of the comics and the IDW and in the original cartoon series, they were quite separate in their own way. They were their own sort of like a, I don't know what you call it, commando team, something like that. But it was a shame they didn't have their own little logo. But yeah, there you go. That's another one of the G1 Dinobot reviews done. Only got Snarl to do now, and then they're all done. But again, this is a figure that I would recommend, as it's a good sort of display figure. I mean, obviously they were played with it when they were brought by children and that, but the only thing you have to really watch with them if you're getting one second hand is just really mainly chromeware. Apart from that, they're quite a robust figure. On all of them so far, I've not found any weakness or stress marks on any of the plastic, or any sort of damage as such. I mean, I did play with these as children, sort of, you know, when I was with my friends and that at school and that, but they've survived pretty well intact with hardly a mark on any of them. Only a little bit of sticker wear here and there, but I mean, you're likely to get that on any figure. I hope you've enjoyed this review. I'll see you again for another review in a minute.